guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. You wouldn't believe it based off of our beautiful scenery, but we are on the outskirts of Motor City, Detroit, Michigan, bringing some Italian flavor and flair with this new vehicle right here. What the heck is it? This is the one you've been waiting for. It's a 2024 Alfa Romeo. This particular one is the new Tonale. But before we get into this smaller size, all-wheel drive, turbocharged crossover SUV, let's talk about what's going on here. This is the first time in about 6 years that Alfa Romeo is unveiling an all-new vehicle. Now, we were at the Chicago Auto Show last year to bring you the concept, the Tonale concept, and I'm very happy to say that that concept that we gave you the first look at really crosses over into the actual production vehicle. Now, Alfa Romeo has a lot of rich history, going all the way back to 1910. That's how long the brand has been around, this Italian brand. Enzo Ferrari once worked for Alfa Romeo, so that really shows you the history. And when Alfa Romeo does something, they want to bring that special style, because at the end of the day, Italians just do it better. But what I want to find out is, you have some tough competition in this premium luxury small size crossover SUV segment. It's a mouthful, but we're going to find out, is it worth the price going with the Tonale over the competition like the BMW X1, the competition from Mercedes and Audi. Let's go ahead, let's dive into this Tonale, see what's great about it, and also find out, is it the best one you should be buying? Let's go ahead and dive in. Right off the bat, you're gonna notice that this is the top trim. There's 3 trims. This is known as the Veloce. Your entry trim is gonna be called the Sprint. Then you could step up to the TI, and then the top dog is the Veloce. No info yet on if there's actually gonna be a quadrifoglio version of this vehicle. Now, at the front of the business, just like that concept Tonale that we brought to you at the Chicago Auto Show, you'll notice that great LED lighting. First of all, this little bug right here, the guts, that's not included. I'll try to wipe that off. It's these Michigan flies, they don't die. It's like they don't disappear. But you have that full LED, not only headlights, the daytime running lamps, and as you could see, the turn signals. I like the way it's got a triple beam setup, and it's all dark on the interior, all blacked out on the interior of the headlight housing. You work your way down, guess what? We don't have fake, we have functional. Functional, massive corner air curtains to help channel that air. And then as we come across the iconic grille and badge of Alfa Romeo, full functionality. They even did functionality on the top portions that intersect the grille with the headlight housing, but there is that upside down triangle shaped grille, a little bit of gloss black. I'm digging the way they just brought some flat black, and then of course that historic badge. And remember, it's not the serpent eating the man, it's the crusader, the holy crusader that made it across the desert, did not die, and came out of the serpent's mouth. But a lot of history with that badge and the overall shape. Now on the Veloce trim, you'll notice that we have a forward-facing camera, and then I like the way you have the full functionality with a little bit of gloss black on the lower grille openings as well, and they went satin flat on the lip. Very nice how they integrated, how they took the body color and wrapped it into that lower lip. And then as we rise up, it's just the little touches. That's what Alfa Romeo, it's all about the fine details. Instead of just making a flat hood that just goes straight across, they actually carve it around their iconic badge. Remember, like I said, going back to 1910. And then another thing you'll notice, especially compared to say like a BMW or an Audi, is that there's no like just flat lines. Everything has a nice shape, a nice curve, and that's what the whole Italian philosophy is. It's not just about function, there's that form part that really makes an Italian vehicle stand out. Like, you know, it's one of those things that you just see it and you feel it. And you could really see with that hood how everything curves nicely right towards the A-pillars. And then as we curve and come around the bend, what are we working? Wheel and tire setup. Now, of course, there's going to be 3 different wheel options based off of what trim you go with on the Veloce, you're getting the bad boys. These are the 20-inch wheels, rotary dial. And if you don't know where they're getting that rotary dial from, it's the old telephones. Back in the day, you used to have to take your finger and rotate that dial to get your different number. So to call your friend or your loved one, that's where they get that design, and it goes all the way back to 1910. If you look at the early Alfa Romeos, they still had a rotary dial style to their wheels, and that's what I love about Alfa Romeo as a brand, is they really focus on their history. And definitely, I'm digging it. Nice bright metallic silver. Even the way they black out the badge, really kind of just like I said, it's all about the details. Look at the way the openings for where your studs go and your lug nuts. It just has a nice curve. You're gonna have, of course, a 4-piston monoblock caliper, Alfa Romeo. That's a Brembo caliper with the Alfa Romeo script. You're gonna have different levels of regen braking. And the Veloce has a special suspension that's only available on the top Veloce trim, where it's shock absorbers made by Koni, which have 2 different modes to them to allow you to really get that perfect suspension handling setup when you get into the twisty bits. But this is a 20-inch wheel, and if you're wondering, what, Joe, what's the size of the tire? 235 on the width, 40 series sidewall. And remember, this does have all-wheel drive, but it is rear-wheel drive based. So that's gonna kind of separate it from some of the competition, because we have that e-motor out back that drives the rear wheels. Now, one of the things, it's all comes down to taste. I'm gonna ask you, how do you feel about the metallic gray finish around the fender openings? Do you like this, or would you like to see it full body color? Let me know down in that comment section. I'm digging it on the Alfa Romeo. I actually like it even more than when we did the Dodge Hornet RT, which is a similar product from Dodge, but really kind of accentuates the fender and gives it a little bit of a differentiator in the color. Now, as we come down the side, tasteful place where they put the Veloce badge. I don't mind it. You do have, of course, your gloss black on the mirror caps, but look at this, the tricolore, the flag colors from Italy, 360-degree camera, and those are the touches. Like I said, it's all the little details. Now, up top, I like the way they don't put roof rails. Look at how sleek that is. This is really showing that sleek GT body line. That's one of the things that Alfa Romeo focuses on, is this GT-shaped body line, even though this is a crossover SUV. But you're gonna get a nice size panoramic sunroof, color matched on the door handles. I think one of the things I'm gonna zonk though up top, and as Steven kind of shows off, you have the blue, which is cool, but I would like to see the whole roof, including the spoiler, blacked out, because you have a black, gloss black shark fin antenna. Would be nice. Let me know in the comment section, how do you feel about that zonk? Is it deserving, or you find the way that it is? Now, gloss black around the window treatment, and I love the bylines. One of the interesting things is, you'll see as we open up the door, the quarter windows in the door, you see this little electric serpent here? This actually lights up when you're charging it, because remember, this is a plug-in electric hybrid. So we have a gas engine, we have the electric motor, we have a battery pack, and this is gonna let you know when it's charging. Kind of nice little touch, and I love the way they made it look like the serpent, but with the plug head. Now down below, as we kind of back away, you'll notice we have some of that metallic gray. So the gray doesn't just go around the fender openings, it follows down the side. You get a nice extension on that lower sill area. And then coming to the rear, you will have, of course, your charging capability. That's where you're gonna charge at night. We'll talk more about that when we pop the hood. Those are your lights to let you know how much you're charged. Close that up. And then as we come around the back, underneath all the sheet metal, you have, of course, that e-motor for the rear axles. I wish on the Veloce trim, they would have taken the roof spoiler and extended it out more. And the reason why is to get rid of this. So that is gonna be the double zonk, is extend this to get rid and hide the wiper, because without the wiper, I mean, they did the tail end of the business just as good and just as sexy as the front. Look at the lighting. Clear LED lighting. This all illuminates at night all the way across with that Alfa Romeo badge, that iconic badge. The Tonale script, looking really slick. and then working our way down. Because we have the top Veloce trim, you are gonna get exhaust. Nice slash cut, oval opening, stainless steel tips on both sides to really give it that nice Italian performance look with the gloss black to match with the gloss black that's up front. But I do like the exhaust. I think that's really the finishing touch on this Italian beauty here. But let's pop the hood, see what's powering our Tonale. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. You do have hood struts to hold open the hood. Underneath the hood, simple engine cover. I wish they would have at least put the Alfa Romeo badge there. But what are we talking about when it comes to technology? First of all, you have the turbocharger right up top underneath that heat shielding. And now I'm gonna give you the lowdown on what happens when we talk about performance. So you're looking at a 1.3 liter turbocharged inline four that Alfa Romeo calls the Firefly. It has a power generator and you have that electric motor out back for the rear axle. So that's gonna give us our all-wheel drive, 285 horsepower, 347 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to a 6-speed automatic transmission. It has a 15.5 kilowatt lithium ion battery pack and does 0 to 60 in 5.6 seconds. Top speed 128 miles per hour. MPGs around 23 in the city, 29 on the highway, and you have that 30-mile pure EV range. So you plug it in overnight and you could drive to work. Say your trip is 15 miles to work and 15 miles back home, you could drive on pure EV with no fuel being used. That gives us a range of 321 miles. The vehicle weighs 4,150 pounds. And believe it or not, Alfa Romeo was able to get a perfect 50-50 weight distribution. Now, the way that they did it is that the battery pack is not flat in the belly of this Tonale. It's actually upright, and it forms the backbone from the front to the rear of the vehicle. And having that electric motor out back, that 90 kilowatt hour electric battery motor out back, that is going to allow for a almost perfect 50-50 weight distribution. But why don't we go ahead, if you're ready, I'm ready, let's fire this up and hear what the Tonale sounds like. All right, guys, we're inside this little pasta rocket known as the 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonale. This is the top Veloce trim. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I have been waiting. I've been waiting patiently. I have not been buying anything new. I saw your review of this vehicle at the Chicago Auto Show. I'm ready to put my money down after I see your on-throttle action. How much is this new Tonale? Very good question. So obviously, the entry-level way into the Tonale is going to be the Sprint trim, and that has a starting price of around $41,000. The Veloce, which is what we're in, the top trim, has a starting price of around $49,000. This one is optioned to $57,000. But let's see what you get for your hard-earned money. To the door panels. I do like the very clean style. You have some metallic gray silver finish around where the door handle is. You got the Harman Kardon sound system with that nice aluminum speaker grill cover, and then you have some leather style material. It would have been nice if they did some white contrast stitching. So that's my only zonk for the door panel. The good news is you got a door pocket large enough for about 5 cannolis and a bottle of Italian Yoo-hoo to wash it down. Now, going from the door panel to the dash, they did that very similar style like what you would find on a Giulia or a Stelvio, round AC vents with a little bit of that gray silver trim. Really digging this finish. Instead of doing carbon fiber or faux carbon fiber, this aluminum style finish is really making it stand out in here. And when the cool thing is, there's 5 different ambient colors that you could change this whole silver panel at night. I can't wait to have this as a press fleet vehicle so I could show you those colors. There's more of that stitching. Let me know if you agree with me if this should be like a silver or a white contrast stitching. Now, as you slide on in, you're getting that new upgraded infotainment system. And I like the way that Alfa Romeo gives you a larger gauge cluster than they do infotainment system. 10.25, it's the Uconnect 5 system, which is 5 times faster than the Uconnect 4. It is that floating iPad style. I don't mind it because it's very low in the center stack. Of course, you got your navigation. What I like is that you could easily set up a bunch of different things. Like, for example, you could add a widget. What the heck does that mean? I could hit there and then say I want to add seats. This is where I have the heated and ventilated seat action going on. So it is nice that we have not only heated seats, but also ventilated seats as well. You go back to home, that is your main screen. I go down the vehicle, and this is really where Alfa Romeo flexes its muscle. You have a nice quick overview. We could go into drive mode, explore, and actually adjust each of the settings, which is really cool. Remember, DNA, dynamic, natural, and then that efficiency type of setup with your different drive modes. So I like the way that they have that, and then you could obviously gauge exactly how you want each thing to be mode-wise. We could go into trip. That's not the most exciting, that's just your trip odometers, but what's better is we got e-hybrid. So this is where you could do your schedules. Remember, when it comes to charging, this is a plug-in electric hybrid, so you do have the e-save, like on the Jeep Wrangler 4xe, but when it comes to charging, you actually can have it to where it charges when you want, and it takes about 8.5 hours to charge at home on a 120. If you have a level 2 charger, which you could get through Alfa Romeo, it'll charge in 2 hours. So we could do power flow, which I'll show you that when we're driving. You got your generator up front. There's that lithium ion battery pack in the backbone there, and then you have your e-motor out back. And then, of course, you could go into performance pages, turbo boost, the torque. I like the accessory gauges because you got oil temp, transmission temp, you got your voltmeter, and then, of course, you got your different controls, including that surround camera. Resolution could be a little bit clearer. That's the only zonk that I have, but it's nice to have the 360. Working our way down, you got your toggle switches for your AC controls. You have, of course, your 12-volt, USB-C, USB-A, and your wireless charging. We got our DNA mode selector. You could go all in and actually go everything off, which is phenomenal. But you go through your different modes very easily there. And then what's nice is that when it comes to, and you see how I shut everything off, you could actually have 2 different suspension settings. Those are those Coney dampers, all 4 corners. I love the leather on the shifter. Would like to see the contrast shifting. You got your volume knob, electric e-brake, all flat black. And I think that's great because look, no fingerprints. This silver trim, very classy without being too over the top. You got your very nice looking Alfa Romeo key fob. It's a little large, but it's got remote start, and I love the Alfa Romeo script. The only thing is it reminds me of an old Samsung flip phone. Like you could open this up and then talk on your phone. Hello? Yeah. That's the only thing. It's just a little too large, but it looks pretty damn good. The nice leather stitching. Let me know about the contrast stitching, how you feel about that. Open it up. Nice, deep center console area to where easily you could put 18 Italian Twinkies. And if you're wondering, well, Joe, what's the difference between an Italian Twinkie and an American Twinkie? They actually put marinara sauce in the center or mozzarella rather than the creamy center. That's the difference. Seats, the leather, the obviously embroidery with the badging. There's your contrast stitching. I just would like to see it used more. Nice bolstering, full electric assist for the passenger, full electric assist for the driver, and we have that super-sized sunroof area. Of course, it will open as well, but it brings some vitamin D for our passengers in the back seat as well. I'm going to close it so I don't get sun blasting me in my face. But why don't you come over to the business end? I got a flat bottom steering wheel that looks like it's out of a race car coming over. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. You do have 3 memory seat settings for the driver's seat. I do like the tasteful sill plate with the Alfa Romeo name. You do have aluminum on the pedals. They look good. The only problem is I need aluminum on the dead pedal. Nice size dead pedal. I just would like it to look like the brake and the throttle. Seat controls are a little on the low side, but once you get it set, like I said, you have 3 different memory seat settings. The inside of the Tonale has passenger size volume that's class leading. So that's a really big plus for this vehicle. Remember, I'm 6 feet tall and I feel actually pretty good in here, even with the sunroof. Now, steering wheel, I promised you a sexy steering wheel. Alfa Romeo does it right. Full leather with the stitching, the 2-piece leather going on with the perforated and the solid. You got your start stop button right on the wheel. That's like a freaking race car, that Alfa Romeo badge. And then talk about massive, ginormous surfboard size metal paddles that allow you to go up and down the 6-speed automatic transmission. And then of course you have your 12.3-inch digital display. The navigation, you could change it up very easily, which is great depending on what you want to showcase in the center. So you got a G meter, you got your driver lane keep assist, different gauges, which is wonderful. So they make it really nice, and it's a nice high def setup. 2 things I'm missing. Number 1, I would like a head-up display. That's one thing that's missing. Number 2 is that I would like to actually have this panoramic sunroof be a little bit longer. Those are the 2 things. But why don't we go ahead, let's get in that back seat and see how your passengers are going to enjoy that you went Italiano on this SUV. All right, guys, back seat time. And believe it or not, you actually have a little bit more leg room in here than you do the Stelvio. So they did a really good job packaging-wise. And from what Alfa Romeo says is that you could have 4 6'4" tall people, adults, sitting in basically the 4 seats, even though this is a 5-seater, of course. Now, on the back of the seats, the leather, nice sized pockets, not large enough for a full Italian New York style pizza, but you'll definitely be able to get 2 slices in there. The kind that you fold, and if you cut your pizza and eat it with a fork and knife, I don't know if we could be friends anymore. Just saying. But the back of the command center here, you do have nice AC vents, USB-C, USB-A. Love the leather everywhere. Of course, you pull this down, super Italian soft on the leather style, and you have that pass-through door that you could get through if you want to have a couple full pizzas back there, if you can't get all the slices in the pockets. But you see, I like the contrast stitching. It's just that they should have used it more. It would look really, really nice throughout the whole interior. But let's get into the cargo, because I'm dying to go on throttle in this pasta rocket. Let's go check it out. Guys, obviously very important when it comes to having a small size SUV. You need some cargo space for all your stuff. Very easy, you hit the button, get a little bit of a chime, nice electric assist. What you're gonna be greeted to is a pretty decent amount of room, considering that there's an electric motor underneath the bottom of the cargo area. But what you're gonna find with the rear seats up, you're looking right around 23 cubic feet of space. Fold the seats down, you have 51 cubic feet of space. Now, I'm happy to report that you do have a 12 volt, easy to get to. And then you'll notice that you have the rear seat pass through, and you also have a 60-40 split. Now, before I put the seats down, let me show you. You lift this up. This is where you're gonna have your charging accessories for the charger. And remember, you plug it in on a 120 at home overnight. It's gonna take about 8 hours to charge. If you put it on a DC fast charger, a level 2 fast charger, that's gonna be 2 hours to charge. So something to think about when it comes to charging, either at night, at home, at work, or wherever you're taking your Tonale. The big zonk is to put down the seats. I gotta go and open up the passenger doors. So bear with me, you gotta come around. Up top, they have these buttons that you push, and that allows you to fold down the rear seats in that 60-40 split fashion so that you can maximize. You're going to Costco, you need to get that big barrel of mayonnaise, you could get it. You need a big barrel of pickles, you could get it. The challenge and the zonk is that they don't fold very flat. So just something to think about there when you're folding down the rear seats. But you know what? This is an Alfa Romeo, and one thing that they like to focus on is that driving enjoyment. Let's go ahead, let's dive in and go on throttle in this Tonale. All right, guys, we are behind the wheel of the 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonale, going on throttle. Here we go. Right away, You're gonna feel that instant torque from the electric motor on that rear axle. And it's very interesting how Alfa Romeo creates a very unique driving experience. The steering wheel feels fantastic in your hands, the leather, the way that they did the instrumentation for the digital gauge display, super clear graphics. The only thing you're gonna have to get used to, it's got a counterclockwise operating tach. That's a little getting used to, especially because right now I am using those surfboard style paddles for this 6-speed automatic that's in the Tonale. But once you get a hang of that, it's real easy. I love the way that you have the ability to get into that fourth mode. So you have your DNA, the dynamic, the natural, so on and so forth, but then you also hold it clockwise towards dynamic, and then you could actually shut off the full traction control and everything, which is gonna give you a little bit higher performance envelope when it comes to when the computers are gonna get involved to slow you down. Guys, from a dead stop on throttle, here we go. So, like I said, I think where you really see the benefit of that electric motor is not only in the pure EV driving experience, because you have that 30-mile range, but when you're in that mid-range of the revs, especially third and fourth gear, it allows you to have that nice amount of torque to get you going. And the fact that when you do go full EV and drive those 30 miles full battery electric vehicle style, it's actually rear-wheel drive based, which is kind of interesting. But so far, having, like I said, that instrumentation, you can see how the gauge setup is working. You go through the different modes, that's gonna affect how the transmission and the engine behave with one another, the steering, the braking. It is a brake-by-wire system, something to just kind of let you know the technology that they're bringing. All right, guys, so I still have it in manual shift mode. The way that you do that is take the shifter, pull it towards the driver's side, and we're gonna use those pedals. You have a small gear indicator, and if you're ready, I'm ready. We're gonna go on throttle as soon as the light turns green and see some of the driving dynamics behind this new Alfa Romeo Tonale. On throttle, here we go. So there's our power flow. Nice balance to the steering. Going into this right-hand bend. There we go. See, this is when it gets fun. Especially because, remember, with this being a hybrid, a plug-in electric hybrid, you have that lower center of gravity, and because of the battery pack, and that's actually going to help with the overall handling of the vehicle, which is really nice. But the shifts are actually really quick out of the 6-speed automatic, but I really like the balance in the handling. That's probably some of the things that I think that Alfa Romeo does really, really well, is when it comes to the handling. Now, I might get a little taken used to get familiar with where the paddles are mounted to the steering column and not the steering wheel. The benefit of that is that no matter where your hands are in rotation, you'll always have access to the shift paddles. But here's where it really, I'm telling you. And then of course you got those Brembo brakes. Nice into this left-hand bend now. Nice. See, that's where things get really, really fun, is when the road gets very twisty. And if you have that type of commute where you'll be able to enjoy the twisty bits, I think that's where you'll be able to appreciate more what the Tonale brings to the table. So what I like about driving the Tonale, especially with the manual shift mode, is that when you're driving in traffic, and say, for example, I'm in fourth gear, when you roll on throttle, I mean, it gives you a nice thrust of torque from both the electric motor and the internal combustion engine, and really provides a unique experience in that sense. And there's no other vehicle in its class, whether it's the BMW, the Mercedes, or the Audi, that offers a plug-in electric hybrid version of a small crossover luxury SUV like the Tonale. All right, guys, one last time for you, one more time for me. On throttle, here we go. Pulls nicely, gets the power to the ground. This is where it gets really good. But just really love the ability to have the vehicle kind of have that split personality, to where if you're able to find some nice twisty roads, you could enjoy that driving feedback. And I really like the way the vehicle communicates to you when you're behind the wheel. But also, you could drive this every day. Simply do all of your errands, and then you have the capability to have that longer range by having it be a plug-in electric hybrid. But we're gonna get back to where it all started and wrap this one up. So I'll see you in a split second. It's been one of those dynamite kind of days out here in Detroit, Michigan. Definitely want to thank the whole Alfa Romeo team for inviting us to this media launch of the new Tonale. Let me know what you think. Has Alfa done the right things with this special pasta sauce of this Tonale Veloce to really make it that best new small size luxury SUV, or are you going to take your money and go somewhere else? Maybe BMW, Audi, or Mercedes-Benz? Let me know down in that comment section. I know they want to know as well. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit the subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile coming back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Ladies Rides family. Of course, I need to give it up to my paisan, Stephen Flood Photography. He makes it happen no matter where he is in the universe with his great videography and photography skills. Show him some love in the comment section. Thank you, Stephen, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.